So over this video, you will know everything you need to know about Google's Gemini model. In the past, I have been on bridge when it comes to using Gemini, and that's primarily because, the performance of their Gemini Ultra, the paid version, is not, if you write code or if you do anything, you'll realize that this is not in line with what other models offer. Models like GPT-4, Claude 3, and so on. Even the basic questions on reasoning. So let's say if I had 3 cars this morning, I sold 2 yesterday, I should still have 3 cars if I hadn't made any sale today, right? So all of these questions as well, Gemini got wrong. And it wasn't just working out too well for me from the reasoning standpoint. And so even though I have the paid subscription here, I'm not really using it. The paid subscription is the first 2 months free that you get, but I'm honestly not in a position where I like using Gemini, and I'd rather work or spend my time using Claude instead, or Claude 3 Opus, which is the most advanced model today, and it also beats GPT-4, by the way. Either way, so I have been on the bridge, and that's primarily because the use cases that Gemini offers are something that I don't want right now. So what I'm doing is I'm writing code, I'm generating content. I would use Gemini. The response is not going to be that great, but honestly, it's underdog when it comes to the kind of things it can actually do. So firstly, what you need to know is Gemini comes in 3 versions, right? So the first version is the Ultra version, which is what we use, which is the most advanced model. The second one is the Pro version, which has a smaller context window, is similar to GPT 3.5 when it comes to performance. But they also have a Nano version, which is being integrated in mobile phones now. I think their latest Google Pixel 8 already has it. And if you look at Apple, they are in talks with Google to have Gemini Nano in the operating system. So it seems that Google or Gemini in that sense is playing on a completely different ballgame. It's focusing more on functional use cases and security than, focusing more on the consumer business side, which is something GPT-4, Claude, and all of these models are trying to do, especially GPT-4. So first is obviously, and this kind of hints at the fact that it's trying to build mobile-based systems similar to Android, right? Google built Android, and now every smartphone is almost powered by the operating system. Similarly, it's now trying to build an ecosystem of AI-powered mobile phones or operating system, which in future basically means that a lot of these devices that we buy will have Gemini integrated. And the interesting part is none of the other big companies are currently focusing on the smaller version of the model or optimized version of the model. So it is possible that Google is going to have a huge edge here, even if it's not able to beat GPT-4 in the consumer side. And the announcement of the whole integration of Gemini is poised to happen on the WWDC 24 event. Is it 23 or 24? Yeah, it's WWDC 24 event, which will apparently happen in June. So again, I'm excited to hear it. And honestly, I always felt that Google was falling behind. In fact, it was trying to build for use cases that GPT-4 and other models don't offer right now. In fact, one of the most important use case that none of the models are today are very good at, and Gemini does really, really well, is the fact that it can do things like videos. So it can actually take 1 hour, 2 hour videos because it has a context length of 1 million tokens. None of the models have that today. The biggest context length is with Claude 3 models, which is 200K. Google's Gemini Pro has, I think, 128K, and GPT-4 also has 128K, right? So let me just quickly check for Gemini Pro. Oh, it has 30,000. But if you look at 1.5 Pro, it has 1 million context length, which is insane for an AI model because it just tells you how much data it can take in one go and give you responses based on that. This makes it very advanced for use cases like video processing, which none of the model is currently today solving. So what you see on the screen right now is the developer version or AI Studio for Google's, building Google's Gemini API, right? So if you want to integrate any of the APIs that Google currently offers, you can go ahead and play around with it here, and it automatically generates the code via which you don't have to, manually write all the code. You can just copy the code, paste it in the app, and it will work as it's working in the UI right now. So either ways, let me walk you through this, right? When you come to Google AI Studio, you have 3 options. You have the basic prompt, that is like a basic to and fro conversation. You have the free from free form prompt that lets you write a prompt as text and image, meaning it's like open-ended. You can write any sort of prompt. And then there is structured prompt for more complex, prompts, or, ensuring that we get responses in specific format. And then there are options to fine tune a model based on what you want to build. So for example, if you look at this sample model here or the base model here, you can provide details to the model such that it can create a new instance of this model, which will be able to answer questions that you fine tune the model on. And then there's the library where you can upload your content. You have to connect your Google Drive here. So either ways, let's go back to the home here. And on the right side, you will see a bunch of different options. So you have Gemini 1, which is the smaller version of the model. And you can also see there's the tuned version here. And then you have the temperature option, which kind of randomizes how close or far the response is from what you expect it to be. And then in here, it's basically where you will create your prompts from a developer standpoint. Now, why this is important, I'll get back to you or get to that in a little bit. You can also go to the prompt library, which has a bunch of these predefined prompts that you can effectively, directly integrate, right? So there is recipe creator, which will take a photo of what you want to eat and generate a recipe. Then you can see there is hurricane chart identification. So it also connects outside of Google environment. And then it has some basic ones like, for example, write content and then research, blog posts, and so on and so forth. So if you click any of these here, it will give you a predefined interface with the Google AI Studio where you can try out some of the examples here. So you can see this is the image that it's uploaded now, and it's using Gemini 1 Pro version. It also has its own vision API. And then when you run it, it's going to generate the recipe for you. I'm just going to be running the example here to show you how it works. And, once it's generated, the best part is that now the entire code is available. So if you click on get code here, this code will exactly do what you did here, right? So that is the interesting part. There is JavaScript, Python, depending on what you or how you want to integrate the code inside of your app. So this is very interesting because none of the platforms offer that right now. In fact, if you use OpenAI's API, it keeps changing every other month and it becomes hard for you to kind of integrate in your application. And then what you can also do is you can run this in Collab if you want. So if you open this will exactly do all of this. You will need to set up an API key, which you can get from going in here and then, creating an API key for your use case. So either way, that out of the way, the biggest thing that, the model is currently able to offer is video analysis. So if you click on video, you will see it will give you a bunch of sample videos. Let's look at all of these videos. So there's a 44-minute video. This is almost a movie. A 10-minute video here. A 30-minute natural history tour. A 5 and 10-minute video here. So while it shows that 44 minutes is the max, now note that every audio in the video will be transcribed into text, and then that text is what you can chat with. The best part again is that it will also randomize and sample frame for you. Meaning, for example, if you ask the question with respect to what is in the movie, it will be able to tell you what is it, right? First, it will obviously do some text analysis, and post text analysis, it will be able to also look at, certain frames randomly and then give you the output. So let's take this 5-minute video to start off with, and then we'll look at the bigger one. So the video is being uploaded, and here you can put a prompt. Let me choose the video, add the prompt, and then ask the question, what's in the video. You can see the video length is 78,900 for a 5-minute video. Now imagine you can do this for 44-minute video, right? And if you club the context somehow, so let's say, for example, if you have 10-hour video, basically you can break it down in 10 API calls, and then based on the number of API calls, you will obviously be charged on the context length as well. But you can analyze a 10-minute video in one go, right? If you're able to break it down correctly. So either ways, we upload the video and we'll very open-ended. We'll ask a question, what's in the video. This will, based on the tokens, right? It was able to, you can see we still have a window of almost like 900k tokens. And then based on the video and the text it transcribed through it, it's going to give you a response. So it takes around 20-25 seconds, primarily because the video length is insane and the token length itself is insane. So to give you context, the OpenAI token length right now is 128k. It's almost 10 times more than that. And then you can see the video shows a tour of dinosaur exhibit at a museum of natural history. And the exhibit features a variety of dinosaur fossils, Tyrannosaurus rex, and then a bunch of different ones which I can't pronounce. The video also shows some of the other exhibits in the museum, such as all of vertebrate origins and Pterosaurus exhibit. I'm not able to pronounce that well. But either way, you can see it's using Gemini 1.5 Pro. And then you can also edit safety settings if you want. So if you don't want it to generate certain things, you can also do that. Anyways, that's secondary. But you can see it was able to analyze a complete video. And you can basically say, can you share important stamps from the video? Now, this will give you a very, very high level overview with respect to certain timestamps that may be relevant from your use case standpoint. You can see the response is being generated here. It takes around 30 to 35 seconds because these videos are long. And plus in this scenario, it has to go through the entire video. So how it's working right now is that it's breaking the video down into smaller chunks of text. And then when you ask it question, it's going to go into the relevant chunk and give you the answer. Now, when you say, give me important timestamps from the video, it has to look at the longer version of this, right? So it has to go through multiple chunks and identify what is the important part of the video. So because we are, giving it a prompt that will require it to go through multiple chunks, it kind of takes long. But if you look at the output here, you can see it's went through the entire 5 minutes to give us the important timestamps from the video. Unfortunately, I can't play this video. I should be able to play it so that I can show you what's in the video. But you can see it's able to do analysis on the video really, really well. And then we can go back and see, we can try another prompt now. So click on video again, and then let's see if we can open it somewhere. Yeah, we can open it by clicking the option here. So let's say we take this 44-minute video because we just want to see how that works. So this is Sherlock Junior 1924. This is the entire 44-minute movie which Google is able to, or Gemini is able to transcribe at this point of time. So you can see this is like a black and white movie, and obviously there's not going to be anyone saying anything because these were silent movies. So very interesting, right? And scenarios where Google does not know what people are saying, right? So given this is a silent movie, naturally there is no clear audio in this, right? Google does not know what's going on, who's doing what, but let's see if Google is still able to analyze it. Typically what happens is when it's looking at videos like these, or models when they're looking at videos, they will extract all the text so that they know what is going on in which slide. Now in this scenario, there is no one speaking, so it does not understand who's doing what, but let's see if it's still able to transcribe it for us or able to, modify it such that we can ask questions about the video, right? Can you give me top 5 comedy plots from this video? So again, it's before you can put in the prompt, it needs to transcribe it, and it takes some time to go through the frames overall. So I'm just going to wait a few seconds before I can start. And you can see as I put in the prompt, the token increases to 13. And if you don't know what context window is, by the way, while it loads, context window is the amount of text the model can take and give at one point of time. So at this point of time, Google can give you 1 million worth context length, which is biggest for any of the model available today. And specifically Gemini 1.5 Pro, not Gemini 1 Pro. And one more thing, like before, right now, Gemini 1.5 Pro is available to everyone. Prior to this was limited access, but you can now access, everyone can now access it. So if you go to ai.googlestudio.com, ai.studio.google.com, then you should be able to access it. And you can see the video is loaded. Now we can start asking questions. Again, it will take some time because this is literally a 44-minute video. So I'm assuming it's going to take some time. So you can see it gave me 5 comedy plots, but I also need timestamps, right? Now, the interesting part here is that no one is speaking in the video. So how does Google know what is happening in its scene? Because it's also utilizing its own computer vision. So it's looking at every frame of the video, which is huge, right? Because looking at one frame itself, you require crazy amount of computing power. Now imagine going through a 44-minute video and going through every frame of the video and making sense of what is the next frame and x+1 frame in general. So let's ask for timestamps. Can you share timestamps for this? Honestly, this is incredible. In scenarios, if you are building products that require you to do video-based processing, then this is an insane capability. And you should definitely add this for analysis of, say, For example, interviews. If you have an interview and you would want to analyze the interview, you can do this. If you have 1 or 2 hour video podcasts, you can upload this. It can also be used in computer vision use cases to understand what's going on and also train the models, right? So for example, if you want to build a solution that can filter out bad apples in an agriculture use case, then you can use this model to identify and specifically highlight frames where there are bad apples, and then separately store those frames, and then modify those frames such that it's able to generate things that you can use in order to train a model in order to do this, right? So it has a bunch of different use cases, and you can see it's also sharing the timestamp. So again, like I said, this is an incredible model, and unfortunately I wasn't able to get access to 1.5 Pro before, but now that I've used it, trust me, I am impressed by the overall Gemini feature itself, or Gemini model itself, and I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to build something in the area where GPT and Claude and other competitors are not competing right now, which is mobile space and the long text or long context video sort of analysis. Now, video is just a simple use case. You can literally analyze complete books if they are, say, 50 to 100 pages. I'm assuming you will be able to do automatic analysis on those books, even if they are bigger books. If you know how to write correct code, then you can break the text down across different chunks, and then based on the different chunks, it can look at a bigger window of the text and do advanced analysis which current models won't be able to do for you. So it can look at a very large window, which is a very useful feature of Gemini, and I hope you guys are able to try this out for the use case that you have in mind. One thing that I want to call out before I leave, that you can't get code for Gemini 1.5 Pro. You can only do it for Gemini 1 Pro at this point of time. So yeah, I think if you want to build something like this, you'll probably have to write your own code for 1.5. But if you have basic use cases, then Gemini 1 Pro should be very, very cool to use. All right, guys. Thank you so much.